Hey everyone, welcome to Track 2, Canvas End to End. I'm Dan Garrison. I'll be your host and tour guide here as I introduce you to some quick start resources and some end-to-end resources to help you design learning experiences and implement our key course design points using Canvas. But before we do that, I want to introduce you to Dustin Sandlin from Smarter Every Day fame on YouTube. If you watch this channel, you can get smarter every day watching what Dustin puts out there. And a few years ago, I came across one of his videos called The Backward Bicycle. And it was hugely inspiring. And I think it has tons of metaphorical meaning for teaching and learning, especially in this era. So I want you to watch this first few seconds in this clip
I
here.
need to tell you the backstory. Like many 6-year-olds with a MacGyver mullet, I learned how to ride a bike when I was really young. I had learned a life skill and I was really proud of it. Everything changed though when my friend Barney called me 25 years later. Where I work, the welders are geniuses and they like to play jokes on the engineers. He had a challenge for me. He had built a special bicycle and he wanted me to try to ride it. He had only changed one thing. When you turn the handlebar to the left, the wheel goes to the right. When you turn it to the right, the wheel goes to the left. I thought this would be easy, so I hopped on the bike ready to demonstrate how quickly I could conquer this.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dustin Sandlin. First attempt riding the bicycle.
All right. So the faster I go, the better. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. You can see that I'm laughing, but I'm actually really frustrated.
Yeah, there's Dustin trying to ride a bicycle where you turn the handle to the left and the wheel goes to the right. And I would submit that us all being in this distance learning and online learning reality right now might feel a little bit like that. We all know that even in regular circumstances that teaching is hard, and so is learning. And some of what we're going to be doing is going to be a lot like learning how to ride this backward bicycle, but which will involve things like unlearning old algorithms. Teaching requires all sorts of complicated algorithms, but we're also going to be learning new ones. And so we're going to get right to it. One thing that's not going to be difficult, in my opinion, because it's so easy to adopt, is actually learning how to use Canvas as an LMS. And we're going to talk about why it's so popular in just a moment. Canvas is now the #1 US LMS. And you can see here, it's actually the only one that's been growing over the last 4 years. And it's now overtaken all the other major ones in the US. If you look here, you can see that it's in almost 1,200 institutions. It's got over 30% market share. There's almost 7 million enrollments. But the point I'm trying to make is it's not just popular. We're going to look at why it's purposeful and it's practical also. And we're going to see that there's some folks that have been using it on our campus here in engineering. We've been using it actually for over 8 years now. We were introduced to it with Project Lead the Way that chose Canvas to be its LMS all across the country in all of its high school engineering programs in all 50 states and nearly 10,000 schools. Mr. LaPlante here on our campus has also adopted it in computer science, and Ms. Redmond in English 1 and Ms. Knoll in AP English. Bob Hearn, I think we're supposed to call him Grandpa Hearn. That's what I saw in the chat. But anyway, he's introducing that to the social studies department. Mr. Kellerman, teaching health, photography, and yearbook, has used this. And these are just some examples of their home pages of what you can do. And this is what's happening across our campus. So we'd like to say, hey, jump on in the Canvas pool. The water's great. So we're going to get to the 3 goals that we have in these next few minutes. And for the rest of the time that you're going to invest, if you're choosing to launch your courses using Canvas. This quick start, we're going to then look at a couple of end-to-end resources, and we're going to then focus on tools that are immediately available for you to implement and begin using the design elements here that are really good in online teaching, in-person teaching, all of the above. So let's have a look at this quick start guide. And for those of you who want to get right to it, this is the link, and we're going to drop it in the chat during our Zoom call tomorrow. And let me also mention that if you're synchronous, we'll be posting these links in the chats, but we'll also have this video up on YouTube, and in the description, we'll have all the resources. And I'm going to be introducing everybody to an actual Canvas PD course that you can join, where all of the assets that are inside of this presentation will be loaded up and available for you to grab there. We'll also be putting out this PowerPoint. So But those of you who want to get a quick start, this is where you go. This link will allow you to register using whatever email you'd like for a free Canvas teacher account. And you'll have some time here in a little bit when we host office hours to jump in and ask for help if you get stuck anywhere along the way. And once you do that, you'll be introduced automatically and immediately to a Canvas course template where you'll see a sample page and a sample discussion and a sample quiz and a sample assignment right there loaded up for you in the course template. So Canvas is doing a ton to help folks get their courses up and running quickly with these basic tools. And then we're going to move right away to this end-to-end self-paced course that's been designed by another organization. And once again, thanks to Grandpa Hearn, who located this during our online working group research this summer. And when you make your way to this link, you'll have access first to this introduction. And there's a short video here. I encourage you to watch it. There's a bunch of teachers out there saying, hey, this is why I use Canvas all across the country and around the planet. And it's super easy to adopt. But this is a highlight of this 9-module course that will allow you to self-pace towards an end-to-end implementation. But don't get intimidated. Yes, there's 9 segments, and it looks like they're an hour each. That'd be a whole bunch of hours. But I'm convinced after using Canvas myself that you don't need an hour for each of these modules. And I would point you and recommend that you start not with module 1, but module 4, where it says creating a course, then move to module 5, creating content, then move to module 6, engaging students. And then as you have time going forward, you can come back and look at these other modules. So this is a super thorough course put together, welcoming any Canvas beginner. Now, I'm going to move into some pro tips and some pitfalls, best practices, and some ditches to avoid real quickly here so that you can get started putting Canvas up and running for your courses. These are some immediate tools that we would recommend that you use. SpeedGrader, and if you learn it and use it, you will save large piles of time. I'll point you to Mr. Kellerman. When we first introduced this to him several years ago in his photography class alone, he saved 3 hours a week in grading. And that's time that he can redirect towards maybe sleeping or resting or taking more pictures or showing up to more events, which I don't know how he would do that. But I certainly know that we all would prefer to spend less time grading, and SpeedGrader is your best friend in learning how to do that. Second thing to use immediately is Google Doc hyperlinks in assignments. Google Suite products can be submitted in assignments in Canvas. So you don't have to move away from Google. Google is my best friend that works together. They play nice in the same sandbox. Here's a couple of other tools you can consider as you get familiar with Canvas. Is a Google Assignments LTI. That's an external app that will help Google and Canvas play nice together. That's a tool that actually was just announced in the last couple of weeks. You can also use built-in rubrics that you design and attach to any assignment that you upload into Canvas. You can use multi-attempt quizzes with quiz banks. There's a Canvas scavenger hunt that I want to say thanks to Mr. LaPlante for creating, and you'll have an access to this live link to take and contextualize for your students in your course, and it'll help your students check for their understanding in using Canvas. And we certainly ask you to consider taking the scavenger hunt for yourself. Now, here's a few pitfalls or problems to avoid. Number 1, avoid uploading large files or videos. Free teacher accounts have limited storage, and the way around that is use Google Doc hyperlinks in the assignment. Then it takes up no memory. But again, all Google Suite products can be submitted in assignments. And again, this second piece is one of the biggest things we see even after using Canvas for a long time, because there's really thousands of organizations out there using Canvas. And so there's a ton of URLs. So have your students bookmark this URL, write it in their notebook, tattoo it on their forehead. This is where you go to access the free teacher account. And there's an app that comes with this, a student app that's super helpful that students can keep this on their mobile phones using any app store. So we're going to move ahead now and look at some tools that you can use to capture and write in Canvas to begin implementing the design points that we began hearing about from Ms. Nall this morning. So in order to build connections inside of Canvas, there's several. You can use the chat mode, the discussion board. You can use video comments and audio comments and SpeedGrader. There's an announcement tool. Now, I'm just going to make one recommendation for a tool that's outside of Canvas to use with Canvas is Mural. It's a visual collaboration for real-time digital whiteboarding. I'm a huge fan of this tool, and so I'm just putting a plug in for that. I think Mr. LaPlante's giving a lot more treatment of that in our Track 3 PD. You can do team building, and dozens of other templates are out there to help you use that tool where you can see everyone working in real time. Now, moving to the idea of wayfinding, again, the scavenger hunt for students that you can customize for your course, that will help get an orientation for students right out of the gate. Modules and pages are going to be your two main tools to help with wayfinding, because you can choose how you organize your content by unit or topic or grading period or whatever you prefer. You can also, as we saw earlier, you can create a front page. It's kind of like your landing page, is your course homepage. Now we're going to move quickly to talk about tools for assessment. Now the two basic tools inside of Canvas are quizzes, and there are so many format of questions inside of quizzes. You don't just have 3 or 4 answer multiple choice questions. There are drop-down lists. You can have fill in the blank. There's so many types, I couldn't name them all, but you'll see I have a ton of fun building all sorts of assessments that really help test students' understanding. And SpeedGrader, again, is going to be your best friend. You can incorporate rubrics inside of a SpeedGrader, and Mr. Tollison is an expert at that, and we're going to be available in some office hours here as soon as this short kickoff is over. Here's some advanced options for assessment. You can build question banks with your quizzes, so that if you want to give multiple attempts with quizzes, then students won't be getting the same questions over and over. Again, you can design your own rubrics and add them to any assignment. It's available and works together with SpeedGrader, where you can also add audio or video comments directly to your grading while you're in Canvas. So we're going to move ahead now and talk about this last idea of agency and tools to help with agency. Really, this is a design challenge for all of us for the learning experiences that we're creating. And one question I think is really helpful to ask here is, how do I give my students choices in the learning that we're asking them to do, both in what and how? And as you design those, you can use the Canvas tool that allows you to have multi-format online submissions. You can do text entries, a website URL, media recordings, and if you click on file upload, you can choose any type or restrict the type to a PDF or a Word doc. Like, that's up to you. So those 4 design points have immediate tools inside of Canvas that you can apply to these design criteria that we're working hard to focus on. So I'm going to move ahead now real quickly as we're about to wrap up and tell you that it's really your turn to ride the bike. And it won't be like Dustin falling all over the place, because Canvas really is easy to adopt. It's easy to get started, and then it has a ton of time-saving tools and productivity tools that I think you'll find open up all sorts of opportunities for your creativity and to put your teaching genius into action so that your students are having high-quality learning experiences all year long. Now, this is the join code. If you go to this URL to join the Woodrow Canvas PD course that I've created, so we're going to be loading up resources throughout the year. If you join using this join code, you'll have all reference resources in this presentation, and those that we'll be building out going forward, it'll be available in that course. And it'll look like this on the front page when you log in, with a few logos and some encouraging reminders. And I want to point you to one last thing here, which is a couple of options. We're going to call them the Genius Bar options for Canvas. And these are live links once you join the course, or go look in the description on the YouTube video. Canvas Guides is a Canvas user community that is absolutely overloaded with resources from all over the planet. If you have a question, there is probably already an answer with screenshot by screenshot by screenshot, step by step, showing you how to do what it is you're looking to do. You can also jump on YouTube, where they have a very active channel with lots of playlists. And so for those of you who are live and synchronous with us today, you can enjoy some office hours where me and Mr. Kellerman, myself, Mr. Kellerman, and Mr. Tollison will be available for you to drop by, and we'll be your wayfinding guides, either to do some, we can have some one-on-one sessions or small groups in a breakout, and we'll stay live until 12:30 today. So please stop by and let's chat. If you're doing this asynchronously, I point you back to the Genius Bar options and also the recordings that we'll have up on the YouTube channel, the PowerPoint, and most importantly, go back to this course and join the course, and you'll be getting the immediate resources and all those that we'll be adding going forward. So the last thing I want to do is put 2 challenges out there for you. One is come by sometime to 3405 and give the backwards bicycle a try. I'm going to put $100 up for anyone who can pedal at 10 feet without falling off. I've yet to have to pay that, but I'm still waiting for somebody to come take the challenge and try to win the $100. I've got my friend and I actually built a version of this right here. You can see we did some custom work and welding, and the bike is sitting here waiting for you to drop by. And I'd love to connect with anybody who'd like to take that challenge. The second challenge I have for everybody is find a colleague and start a conversation with these questions. And hey, feel free to come by and ask us in engineering. We love talking about teaching and learning. And so here's the first question. What do you mean by teaching with excellence? And how do you know when it's happening? And what do you mean by learning? And how do you know when it's taking place? If we're going to be the exemplary high school for teaching and learning, we should be having conversations about what does this mean and what does it look like all the time. So I'm looking forward to some folks stopping by and taking on the backwards bicycle challenge, or starting a meaningful conversation around these topics, or just come by so we can hang out as we dig into what's happening and what's coming for us in 2020. Look forward to seeing some of you in our office hours live for the next couple of hours. And for those of you who are asynchronous, thanks for tuning in. We look forward to connecting with you throughout the year.